The purpose of this course is to get you up and running as quickly as possible using Adobe Premiere Pro. So we're going to be looking at what project files are. All of these creative decisions get stored somewhere, and we'll look at that. We're going to examine importing files, so you're going to be able to bring in media from multiple sources, either as whole files or using the special media browser for cameras that use a fragmented file system. So, for example, P2 from Panasonic or XDCam from Sony. We're going to learn about core editing skills, so we'll be able to make sequences, make simple changes to them, navigate them, and adjust the content. And we're going to get into more advanced use of the timeline. We'll be doing things like keyframing on the timeline to adjust opacity or position and animate the position of frames in the picture. We're going to learn about color correction. So we'll be working with quite a range of effects actually, but in particular, I want to show you how color correction works. I want to make sure that you understand about the different controls and how easy it is to experiment and explore and try things out. There we go. Let's cool that shot down a little bit. We're going to work with transition effects. So we might well put things like a cross dissolve in. And people can get pretty carried away with transition effects. If you watch regular TV, well, maybe you'll see a cross dissolve like this one between two images. Most of the transition effects used in broadcast television and feature films, really it's going to be a cut. It's very rarely much more than that, but there's a lot of choice in Premiere Pro. We'll be learning about trimming our content, adjusting the content so we can change our minds about which content we want to use. And this is a feature that's been dramatically improved in Premiere Pro CS6. It was one of the small number of quite legitimate criticisms of previous versions that have been very robustly answered by the engineers at Adobe. So some really lovely features there, including JKL trim, which I'll show you, well, perhaps now. I look at this. I can play the edit and pause, and it's done. I've adjusted the content of my clip. We'll be looking at that in detail. Multi-camera editing is another feature that has been robustly improved in this release, and we'll be looking at how to do it, how easy it is, and how you can adjust the contents of your multi-camera edit. Essentially, it means pressing play and adjusting the camera angle that you're seeing live as you play back. It's a very powerful way of producing a dynamic edit on the fly without having to go through cut by cut. We'll be learning about the various audio controls, and in fact one of the things that's been dramatically improved in this release of Premiere Pro is you now have multiple audio types, and particularly if you're producing broadcast video, you'll be very happy to see that we now have these new multi-channel master options and adaptive track output controls where we can map exactly which source audio goes to which audio output. If you're working with regular video, this isn't such a big deal. If you're just going to take stereo audio from a prosumer camera and play that out to a stereo master, frankly, not that big at all. But if you are working with things like XDCam, if you've got maybe 8 tracks of source audio and you need to pipe those out to specific output channels, you're going to love this new feature. It just fixes a lot of problems that people had with that in previous releases. We'll be looking at chroma key too, and let's see now. I've got some media here with chroma key, and I can show you very, very briefly. Let's have a look. Here we go. If I bring up my effects and bring up the Ultra Keyer, which is a great keying filter included with Premiere Pro, you'll see how easy it is for me to layer media. If I turn that effect off and on, you can see just by selecting a color and making that color transparent in your picture. It looks like she's got some kind of claw in her hand there, but it's just gloves. We'll be learning about titles and how easy it is to make comprehensive 2D titles inside of Premiere Pro. You'll notice that the title tool in Premiere Pro, here we go, this is a new title. It's my wonderful design skills right there. Let's put that down as well. You'll notice the titles in Premiere Pro are all 2D. And in fact, you can use Photoshop as a title tool because there's direct native support for PSD files. As you'd imagine, the company that makes Photoshop has pretty good support for PSDs inside of Premiere Pro. You can, of course, also use After Effects to generate fully animated 3D titles with beautiful results. And finally, we're going to be looking at managing your projects generally, how to manage your media, and how to output to DVD, Blu-ray, and the web using Adobe Encore CS6, which is an application that comes with Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, if you look at the assets, I've got them just here. These are the items included with this series of lessons, and they're broken down for you. You've got a folder for each of the chapters, so here's the one we're looking at right now. You'll find in each of these, each lesson has a begin and a complete project file. So you can have a look at what I've done by comparing with the complete version, and you can start out with begin and follow along with me click by click. If you've got a 2-monitor video editing system, you're in luck. Put Premiere Pro on one screen, put the video on the other, and you can just pause and click and pause and click and follow along. Do copy all of the assets onto your local hard drive if possible from the original disk or download, because these are referred to at different times throughout the lessons and a lot of them are reused. So just take the whole lot and put it on your hard drive. Just drag and drop. Under our video assets, we've got quite a range of content here, and I'll be talking about the beautiful way that Premiere Pro handles multiple media types. Effectively, you just don't need to think about it anymore. You can bring in whatever you like and press play. In theory, everything should just work perfectly. The days of having to worry about frame sizes and frame rates and pixel aspect ratios and field orders and all of those other potentially quite complex decisions to do with managing media, well, those days are over. It's a lot simpler now. You mainly just need to make sure you make the correct sequence setting selection in the beginning. At the end of this course, we've got a complete edit we'll be working on, so we'll go right the way through the workflow just to consolidate the skills you've learned and get a sense of familiarity with using Premiere Pro. So that's an overview of this course and a quick introduction to the media assets we'll be using.